And now we're in Lisbon, in a place where you have, I believe, the more authentic landscape of a city. And the landscape is not only a landscape, it's about the people living in that landscape, and they have to fit, to be in harmony. And I believe that this district, Alfama, is, up to now, in any case, authentic. They are Portuguese, they have their way of thinking, their way of acting. Yeah, it's a nice place. It's a nice place with a lot of fresh air, wonderful view, the sun shining at the beginning of the day and the sun going down on the west part. Oh, this is a very simple story. I saw it day one with a driver who took me from the airport. I asked him to stop because I found that what I was seeing was really a nice landscape, but not knowing the details. And it was looking like my house in Paris from the outside. And the same night, I asked for to find the owner of the place, and I was lucky to find it. And the gentleman who gave me this information told me he had the house for sale. So the next day I bought it without visiting it. That was it. So that's why I'm saying I was bought by the house instead of buying the house. I think it's, the symbol is very important. It means there was a link between a physical thing and myself. And I visited it 6 months later. And the dream exploded because I didn't count 10 windows, but 360 in the whole property, and I didn't expect it to be that size. But we managed. It was simple. We were expropriated from one part, and well, it eased up the thing. We started to work for 6 years. 1 year doing nothing. And this is the most important. Doing nothing is the most important. Because when you enter such a place, you want to move fast. You want to do things fast. No, we stopped. We did nothing. We were listening to the wind. We were listening to the noise of the street, to the noise of the people living in Alfama, to the smell, to the light, to the rain. The rain. We had buckets. We were filled with buckets, filled with the rain pouring through the roof. After this year of listening to and trying to understand the materials, the location, and the life around, we had to start restoring. And we were not specialists of restoring things like that. So we asked for a company to do it. We signed the first contract, and it went very badly. I had to fire them because they were using techniques that didn't fit in my point of view with the house. Because this house is a vernacular house built in 5 different periods. So you have a Roman part, you have a Muslim part of the 7th century, and then you have the proper house that was built around those towers and the fortification that started in 1449 and then went on 1500 and 1640, where they finished the construction. Decoration was ended in 1725, inside decoration. And I knew a lot about having done such work before. I had to learn about the Chart of Venice, which means using the material of a period of a construction. But nobody knew about that in Portugal. And on top of that, being an ecologist myself, having developed a compass, which is called Design a Sustainable Tomorrow, I wanted to add to the techniques of the Charter of Venice all the principles of sustainable issues. So this was a great moment, you know, lots of things to think about. And I went to the city hall and said, I can't prepare a document for a license. It's too complicated. So if I can do it without a license, I'll do the restoration. It will take a long time. It will be very expensive. But I can't do it with a license because we don't know what we're going to find and we don't know what will be needed to make it work. And I explained the sustainable issues, Chart of Venice, and all the studies we'll have to do. And they came back a few days later saying, yes, if you take a gentleman from a national monument in your team, you can do it, and you write the documents at the end of the work. So we did that way, and we found. I was very lucky with a partner. His name is Pedro Quirino da Fonseca, and we spent 5 years together, visiting the country and doing that job. You know, you deal with those issues step by step. So we discovered we had 2 sagouins, which are small streets that divide the Palacio. And those 2 streets were built while they were building the place to prevent the fire from going from one part to another. And they were closed space. There's no relation between the building and those sagouins. The particularity of a sagouin in itself is that the sun doesn't come in. So we were thinking there must be a difference of temperature between the sagouin and the outside space. And as a matter of fact, there is 5 to 6 degrees difference. So we decided to open some windows the old way and doors on the sagouin to ventilate all the rooms naturally. So this was fantastic because you had fresh air. You didn't use electricity, so you were not producing CO2. And that was perfect. And it was silence, no noise. Perfect. And then there was another thing which was important. It was the lime mortar. Portuguese at the time I started the project were using cement to cover their houses and their castles and their museums. And I said to myself, this is not a place to use cement on those buildings. We should really use lime mortar, which was a traditional way. And I had used it in another project in France before, and it was a great success. But here we had a special condition. It was very humid. So we had another problem to solve, and we found that the Vitruve lime mortar would be the best one, but the way to do it was lost. So we hired some scientists, some technicians, and during two years, we've been trying to find back the recipe, which we did. And we called it the Frederic lime mortar. And we used it, and you can see it, it's perfect. The interest is that it absorbs the humidity and rejects it. So the humidity doesn't get inside the building, get just to a certain level of the wall and goes back during the day. And we published a book on that, explaining all the details. And we offered the book to all the architects in Portugal, the one we knew, and there were many, and builders and the administration. And then we offered the recipe to a company at the condition they call the lime mortar Frederic, which they did, and they're blooming. It's a very nice company, working very well. I'm very proud of that. When we took out the roof of the Roman tower, the walls went down in powder for 2 meters. Luckily, all the men were attached. But this was strange, The last beam we took out, 2 meters, powder. A cloud of powder. How did it stay so long? We don't know. Then when we took out the roof from this part, we found that the wall of the facade was going outside by 30 centimeters. And we thought it would fall down. But that was a very interesting case because we had to use it as it was and sustain it on the perpendicular wall the traditional way. So we used angles of metals, and it's done 25 years ago and it didn't move. So this was interesting too. The difficult thing were about producing what was needed to be replaced the way it was done before. So the tiles, for instance, on the floor were cooked on the sun, 60%, and then in the oven for the balance. And we had cats and dogs running, so you can see the prints. I like that, because suddenly it's alive, It's not only a factory that is doing that. No, it's a process. And kids love it because they check, where are they? For the wood, for instance, this pine wood, this floor, is coming from Riga. So this was done in 1640. And we had to take them out, number them, and then put the insulation below and treat the way it has to be done, because it's a public place today. And we had all the electricity and data information going around. It's interesting because when you start doing that, everybody looks at you and asks, why don't you use new wood? And I was telling them, touch the azulejos, you see? And then think of your feet, barefoot, walking and touching the azulejos. It's the same, nothing is perfect. It's life. If you had new flooring, it would be without interest. But we had lots of problems, because how do you want to heat such space? You have azulejos, you can't have any heating system on the azulejos. On the floor, you can't have them, it's wood. Can you imagine that this room, that room, the other room, and the other room are just heated naturally by two traditional heating systems in another room? Because the air is flowing around permanently, slowly, you don't feel it, and it's perfect. You know, when you live with students, professors, and workers, you are really with human beings, because the students are not completely shaped. Professors are a little bit more, but not always. And the workers, they are. And when you live with them for 5 years here, for instance, 65 workers, you understand the quality of those people. They have dreams. And when you allow them to restore such a place, they fulfill their dreams. It's not like working with cement and having square places like that. No, they have to invent the space. And they're proud of it. And when you work with a team and when everyone is proud of what he has done, you made a good job. No, I'm not proud of anything. No, you know, the building process and the design process, not being a specialist of anything, is a very difficult or simple one in my case. I have to live in the space. So I have to feel the space, the volumes, the light, and then I decide what will be around me. I don't want too many, because I want to be free to think, to dream, and not to be imposed things. And then it has to be Portuguese or my own design. It can be IKEA, it can be French furniture. We're in Portugal. So we design bathroom with Portuguese marble. And there are so many quarries in Portugal. You have to find different types of marbles. So what we did, I'm not an artist, I'm just a dreamer, a landscape collector. You know, you're an artist when you can live with your art. I can't. I like doing this piece, for instance, yes. I like doing the lights there, but that's all. I like designing those coach, yes, why not? But what is it? It's nothing. I designed that, yes, but this is not good. It's too high, at least 60 centimeters, but I'm too old to get them down 60 centimeters, so I leave them here. But the ones that are good are the one in the other room. They have like applique, and they're just perfect. And it's Maya, my wife, who painted them. Beautiful. No, I don't speak about that to a camera. No, we found, you know, whenever I do a project like that, because I did many right now, but we have somebody looking at the walls, looking at the floor, and trying to find if there is not a secret. And we found many here. There is a Roman house in the garden, 5 meters below, for instance. I did a staircase to get in, just to show it if anyone wants to see it. We had, from the kitchen, we discovered an escape going down to the Tejo. It doesn't go down to the Tejo right now because the Tejo is much further away. But at the time of the construction, 1640, it was Roman period. It was going down to the Tejo. And I think the family here may have used it until the earthquake of 1755, because it's just after the earthquake that the Tejo was pushed away with the remains of all the building that fell down. This building wasn't touched by the earthquake. Interesting. The way it was constructed in 5 different periods with vaults and counterforts and things like that. And on a rock. We have one tower, for instance, built on a rock 40 meters high, and it's the first room 30 meters above the ground. It's nice. Well, it depends on the day. I have a choice. I have 12 suites, so I can choose. And I even have my bedroom in the garden. Yeah, I'll show it to you. And I did it in such a way that I can prepare my tea inside with fire, wood, to warm the water. It's the best place. No windows, no doors. Open to the garden. They're so different, you know. The light is different. It's a morning light, it's afternoon light, it's evening light. The air is different also because you have the air coming from the desert on the southern part. Now it's when it's raining, for instance, I want to be in the Padre Malaya, which is 4 sides. You have a view on 360 degrees. So you have the wind and the rain pouring everywhere. It's wonderful. I believe it's a house first. It's a house. Here they call it a Palacio. I don't think it's a Palacio, but it's a house. It's a family house with 11 little holes, just like with bees, you know. The bees, they have each one their house, and the mother bee, the queen, is the chief. It's about that. So you had a family, a Figueredo family, a Duke de Lulé, well, whatever their title. It's the same family. And all the members of the family are living in one little alveole, okay? And they meet at this level, where they can have lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever, play bridge, play canasta, play poker. The kids can play too, and they have a garden. There is one kitchen, one laundry. It's a very modern building. Instead of having 11 members of family with 11 fridge, 11 cooking system, 11 laundry, just one for 11. It's a very modern building. And what we do offer, it's a place which is really Portuguese, because in any other hotel, you don't have that. You don't have that. So this was our challenge, to do it modern, but keep it really Portuguese. And it was very difficult, I can tell you, because when I discovered the azulejos, we were all fallen down, or most of it. I didn't know how to use the space, because I couldn't have central heating. And then, with the azulejos, what can you do? You can't have paintings. And what type of color can you use? It's difficult. It took some time. You can't imagine, but the wall, the color of the wall, I think they've been done 15 times to get to this just simple color. No, the corridors where the children were allowed to develop their own panels were the corridor for the people working, for the staff, you know. So the family wasn't there. But today, the kids coming here, they love crossing, running around and looking and finding birds and dogs and yeah. Yes, it's also part of history, you know. You have the masters doing the big pieces, but they have their kids around and they put their kids working and trying. And so all the corridors are done by the kids of the masters. And it's just beautiful. We see the love between parents and kids and the help and, well, it's family life. Again, it was a long process, you know, walking. There was nothing, not a tree, nothing. So we had to build walls, to build different levels. We have different levels in the garden. It's not a big one, so we had to increase the size by creating a forest, which we did. And we had two separate parts, which I like very much. On the swimming pool part, you don't have the people, too many people. And on the other side, you have the views on the old city, which is great. And we built, as I told you, all the levels, all the staircases. And we had the trees coming with the crane from the square below. It was very difficult, because trees couldn't pass through the gate here. I have a swimming pool. I wanted to have it black because it would fit perfectly inside the shape of the building, of this facade and the colors. I don't like the blue swimming pool or the red swimming pool. It's unnatural. But the swimming pool is an infinity pool. It had to be small, so we had special jet. You have to cross. You have to swim against the jet, and it's a good exercise. And we have a sauna next by, so difficult. It was difficult. I think the most influential book I read, there's so many, but it would be Lao Tzu, the Chinese Lao Tzu, very old. A way of thinking, a way of acting, to be balanced. You don't have to be the winner or the loser. You have to be in between. You have to guarantee space to everyone. I think it's the most important, Well, I do believe we have to live together. So everyone has to do an effort. We applied that here because we had 25 tenants outside the Belmonte, the Palacio, and we kept them all. We restored their house the way we restored the Palacio, and we kept them with the same rent. And it was also selfish because we just wanted to keep the butcher and the baker around to go and pick up our bread and meat whenever we needed it. I think the laws are too restrictive. It should be everyone restoring a house should keep tenants and should keep, if they don't keep it, they should buy something for them and keep them their rent. And it's the state who has to increase the rent and pay the difference maybe. But when you look at cities, the cities and the landscape of the cities and the culture of the cities, it's mainly the people inside. And when those people can't stay inside, you lose the spirit of the city. It's what's happening in Barcelona, it's what's happening in Venice. It may be something like that here, happening in Portugal. So it's so easy. But the government changed and the city took some measures. They stopped the bed and breakfast new opening. And they decided to buy back not to buy back, but to lease on long-term term some bed and breakfast to rent them to Portuguese that had left Lisbon because they couldn't afford anymore to live here at a smaller price. Fantastic. 1,000, they taking 1,000 of them. And many other measures they took. So they're understanding the question and answering to it. I tell you, it's very simple. I do a Japanese movement, breathing movement, when I wake up. No, first I take some water, cold water, and I 3 times, and I'm happy. And then I do the breathing movement. It takes me 13 minutes, and I'm a new man. So it's simple. And then I go to the computer and I found 120, 130 mails during the night, thank you. And usually until now, I was going to the other part of the city to pick up a box of cigars. But now I don't smoke anymore, so I have to go on the other side, finding a new thing to do. Maybe buying an ice cream or the papers.